I'm Daniel Decay with BangerTV. I recently had the chance to talk with Marc Hudson, lead singer of Dragonforce. I really wanted to nerd out with him about the 11-minute epic, The Edge of the World, from their latest record. Let's see if we can talk about it for 11 minutes. Marc, thank you for joining me, man. I want to congratulate you on reaching into infinity.
Thank you very much.
Pretty cool record, and so far the reviews are awesome. I was listening to it at home, and something pretty interesting happens towards the end of the record. We've got this crazy 11-minute epic journey. I kind of want to ask you a little bit about that song. It's very uncharacteristic to have a song that long on a Dragonforce record. I saw that Fred, Sam, as well as you have writing credits on it. Who initially brought the idea, and how did they pitch that to the group?
Well, I think the idea mainly came from Fred. I think he'd been working on that for a little while now, and he's kind of maybe the least power metal guy in the band. He kind of likes other genres of music quite a lot, like progressive and more extreme music as well. So I think that's pretty much him as far as the music goes, and then Sam pretty much has an input on everything as well. And then from my side, it was mainly lyrical content and the kind of concept in general, because we had this long, epic, progressive song going on, and basically there wasn't really any theme to it. So me and Fred kind of worked together to, find something to base it on, and then base all the lyrical themes. And in fact, the music actually changed after we changed the lyrics as well. So yeah, that was my involvement anyway.
Interesting. And what are these lyrical themes throughout the tune?
It's basically about the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's pretty much like the Noah's Ark theme before the Bible. So basically, in the middle of the song, the vocals change quite a lot, as I'm sure you've heard.
I noticed, yes.
Yeah, and that's the part where basically there's like a great flood, and it's like the god is kind of like wiping out humanity for all their, I want to say sins, but it's not a religious song whatsoever, but it's just like the savior of the earth is this guy who's like has to build an ark essentially, and then and he gets like deified and becomes a god himself at the end, and turn to gold. That was like the whole thing. But we actually had to like kind of chop and change bits, because number one, again, like I said, we didn't want it to be, oh, this is exactly that story. It was like our own interpretation of that, and as we went along, we want to make things rhyme and sound good, so we changed a few things here and there, but it was basically based on that originally.
Was this a story that you were familiar with going into the project, or was there a lot of research involved?
Kind of a lot of research, yeah. Like initially, I mean, I never heard of it, but I was just kind of like thinking of what like matches the theme of the song, because lots of the riffs are kind of, they have that kind of harmonic minor sound here and there, and it kind of makes me think of, I don't know, like an Eastern vibe to some of it and stuff. So I ended up just looking through like, what we could base it on, and then from just looking stuff up on the internet, I found that the Epic of Gilgamesh, and thought that was a really cool theme for it. Fred really liked it too, and then we said, yeah, we'll do it, but let's just change it a bit. So that's
pretty cool. Touching on that aggressive, it's almost a borderline death metal vocal that you bring. It's very different from your normal range. I mean, you have an incredible range from your lows to your highs. Do you have to channel sort of something else inside of you to bring out that more aggressive touch?
I actually have like a lot of fun singing that bit on stage, because we've been playing that every night so far. I find that that's pretty much the most enjoyment I get during the set, because it's kind of like I just get to change role completely and just be a completely different character for a second. And yeah, like vocally, obviously, it was a bit of a challenge, because I'm used to singing clean all the time. When they came up with this idea for the song having a different character, they said, maybe we should get somebody else to sing it. Maybe Fred's going to sing it. And I was like, nah, let me sing it. Let me just try at least. And then, so yeah, I got in the studio, and yeah, a couple of hours later, I was like, well, that's what I can do. And then next thing you know, they put it on the album. So I was like, cool. And then I have to figure out how to do that live every night, which has been going pretty cool so far.
Is that your first recorded attempt at an aggressive vocal like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, here and there I've done it before. Like I've done, for all the Dragonforce albums, we kind of all do the backing vocals. So I normally do, obviously, the lead vocal, the third, and then a 3-part harmony behind. And sometimes we do kind of aggressive vocals behind that as well, just for certain sections and stuff. So I have done it before, but never as a lead. So it was really cool to do like be in the limelight as I'm doing a completely different sort of vocal technique. That was really cool.
Comes off very strong. So you're playing that song live every night, you say?
Yeah, we've played it every night of this tour so far. So obviously with the new album, we want to play new stuff. And to be honest, that one was a bit of an experiment for us, because, it's hard to tell what Dragonforce fans really like, because they like their fast stuff, they like the melodic stuff, And in my opinion, this is a bit of a departure, but because I'm a prog guy, I think it's a departure in a good way. And it's, you know, it's only one song in the set, so I think we should let people see what they think about it. But it's had a really good reaction so far, even though people just kind of they kind of just stand there, just taking it all in, you know, because it's a change of pace for us, yeah.
Yeah, as a prog guy, you're probably pretty stoked that there's a nice long proggy metal tune on the record. I'm sure that's exciting for you.
Definitely.
What's some of your favorite long prog songs?
I'm a huge fan of Dream Theater and Symphony X.
Yeah.
So I would say I really like The Odyssey.
Oh,
by Symphony
hell
X.
yeah, man.
I think it's like 24 minutes long or something.
That's crazy
something
tune,
like that.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, Divine Wings of Tragedy as well. Illumination Theory on one of the newer albums. Yeah, I like all that stuff. I don't know, and Rush as well. They've got some
They do.
Progressive Steel.
Welcome to the home of Rush.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously I really like Yes as well, and they've got a few songs like on Close to the Edge and Relayer, stuff like that. You know, like 15-minute long songs, which I really just dig stuff changing and music that takes you on a journey. I think is really cool. So
now you've got one of your own that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It's such a long song to play live. There's large chunks of the song where there's no vocals going on. Mm-hmm. What's your go-to during those parts? What do you like to do?
I mean, usually I try and stay on stage and have a presence, you know, because a lot of singers will disappear at every moment where there's guitar solos going on and stuff. Normally, I'm either just pretty much just looking at the drummer and kind of just jamming with him, kind of thing, or just going out and you know, winding up the crowd, pointing at people and making them feel awkward. And I generally just try and stay there as much as I can. But yeah, like some songs we have like a 4-minute solo. It's like I'm not just gonna stand there, so I'm gonna go off and grab a beer and come back on. So
I want to talk about the title, "The Edge of the World." Mm-hmm. That's a pretty strong statement. Have you ever felt yourself standing at the edge of the world, and is that a good place to be?
That's weird that you mentioned that, because the title was the first thing before we had any lyrical theme whatsoever. I don't know why, but Fred was like, I want it to be called The Edge of the World. And I was like, okay, what could that be about? And that got me thinking, you know, the first thing that came to mind, not to be like, you know, a bum out or anything, but the first thing I thought about was people that are, you know, thinking about suicide and stuff like that, or people at the edge of like their existence in some way, you know, like, and that was the first lyrical theme we came up with, and we started thinking about that. And then from there, we were like, it doesn't really fit the theme, the way the song feels. Like this song changes too much. It's not really a sad song or anything. So, so then that's why we suddenly came up with the idea of the edge of the world being kind of like the edge of mankind, like the end of it, or the potential end of it. And that's where we kind of got into the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh.
That's crazy. It usually happens the other way around, doesn't it?
It was quite weird, because he really didn't want to move on that either. He was like, it's going to be called The Edge of the World, or The Man at the Edge of the World. And I was like, okay, I've got to figure out what we can write this about. But actually, in the end, I think it turned out really cool.